Automatic U.S. government spending cuts, commonly known as the Sequester, have gone into effect on March 1st. Here are 3 things you should know about these cuts. The first thing you should know is that the Sequester forces substantial cuts to a wide range of spending programs, the effects of which will build over the coming months. The law cuts spending by $1.2 trillion over the next 10 years. This year's Sequester, $85 billion in cuts between now and September, will reduce spending by as much as 13% for some departments, leaving discretionary spending, the spending Congress authorizes each year, below 2008 levels. Mandatory spending on entitlements such as Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and interest payments on the debt are essentially exempted from these cuts. How big a hit is that? Economists estimate that the Sequester will reduce growth by 0.5 to 0.75% this year, to around 2%, and by the end of 2014 could cost as much as 750,000 jobs. This tells us the Sequester is a significant drag on the economy, but it's unlikely to cause a new recession. The administration's efforts to raise public concern about the Sequester created the impression that the effects would be quick and dramatic, and when the deadline came and went without noticeable disruption, the administration had to backtrack. Nonetheless, the impact of the Sequester will grow over time and become more visibly disruptive as programs are cut, furloughs go into effect, and reduced overtime or freezes on new hiring contribute to delays in critical government services. Longer waits for planes, delays in food inspection or medical services, and the like could disrupt activity to a far greater degree than the economic forecasts suggest. The second thing you should know is that Congress is likely to amend and soften the impact of the Sequester. As the political and economic costs mount, pressure on Congress and the administration will intensify to negotiate changes that would provide more flexibility to departments in implementing the cuts and perhaps push back some of the cuts to 2014 and beyond. The first opportunity to do so will be later this month when a continuing resolution will need to be passed to fund the government till September 30th. The House has passed a bill that largely preserves Sequester's cuts, but softens its impact by providing more discretion for defense in implementing the cuts. Senate Democrats are unlikely to go along with this bill as it stands, but with similar flexibility for domestic programs, this could be a way forward. It's also possible the Sequester could be amended, either through a standalone bill, as part of next year's budget process, or in connection with an increase in the debt limit. But it's likely to take more public pressure before a deal is to be had. The third thing that you should know is that the Sequester does not address the long-term drivers of our deficit. In fact, virtually all the spending cuts of the last 3 years fall on a small and shrinking portion of the budget, discretionary spending, leaving entitlements virtually untouched. With the Sequester, we have now cut the budget enough to stabilize the debt until about the middle of the decade. But after that, deficits will begin to rise sharply as an aging population drives medical and retirement costs higher, and rising interest rates boost debt service. In sum, the long-term challenge of putting the United States on a sustainable budget path remains unsolved.